As I mentioned before, Todd may have had two life-threatening reactions to medications during this stay in Seattle. I say may because there's a better chance that these episodes were actually signs of evolving pressure in his brain. Nevertheless, they went with the serotonin syndrome story. So let's go along for the ride for now. After the first supposed serotonin syndrome in July, the medical team was specifically advised to consult the pharmacy to be sure no future medications would cause a repeat episode. Nobody bothered to do that. The VHA requires that adverse drug reactions be entered into a tracking system that appears in the medical record and puts the pharmacy on alert. It's an important safety precaution with federal oversight, and nobody bothered to do that either. The doctors did explicitly write that Todd shouldn't receive those medications again, and Todd himself had clearly and repeatedly told his care team he didn't want them. His refusals are written in the medical record. Sure enough, less than a week after recovering from his first episode of serotonin syndrome, they gave him the same meds again in his IV, without his knowledge, while he was asleep. That's a violation of his legal right to informed consent, and it is documented. What isn't documented in the record is that his doctors never told him about the mistakes or what was happening to him. I had to tell him myself. Just to help you keep track of the timeline, the second serotonin syndrome and the second supposed meningitis and the hydrocephalus are all happening at the same time, and no one could figure out what was wrong with Todd or why he never improved, no matter what they did. Todd's service-connected depression was well managed for over 20 years. But after those drug reactions, the medications that kept it stable had to be permanently stopped. At the same time, the TBI was taking its own toll. Together, these two things, the uncontrolled depression and the brain injury, drove a devastating decline, and by late August, Todd was rated at 92% functional impairment. Todd's mental and cognitive function deteriorated to the point where he often couldn't speak, follow commands, or even write his own name. His tremors made it impossible to even hold a pen. He couldn't make a phone call or even hold his phone. He couldn't hold a conversation. He needed round-the-clock assistance for everything, every basic task of daily life, including eating. Eventually, even that became impossible, and Todd required a feeding tube just to survive. He was in and out of awareness, and the medical team was relying on me to make decisions for him. I thought I was very clear about what he wanted. He had consistently stated that he wanted full resuscitation, and he was resolved to fight for his life no matter what. He had an advance directive for years, and it never changed. And he specifically stated he wanted out of Seattle so he could get a second opinion from doctors he trusted. He wanted to go home and had been asking for 2 months. But then on August 31st, he confided in the chaplain that he was considering stopping treatment. She wrote in the medical record that she believed this to be coming from a place of severe depression rather than genuine desire to give up. This was a critical turning point. It should have triggered an immediate mental health evaluation and a discussion about goals of care. As the legal surrogate expected to make decisions on Todd's behalf, I should have been told. None of those things happened. So, for another 2 weeks, I continued to give consent for medications, spinal taps, MRIs, and another painful bone marrow biopsy that ultimately served no purpose. I have no words to describe the profound guilt I felt when I finally learned about the chaplain conversation no one bothered to mention. I still wonder if Todd felt that I had betrayed his wishes when I continued to authorize aggressive treatments. By mid-September, they had stopped trying to treat meningitis and decided he probably didn't have it. And that was the news we were waiting for. We'd been told for weeks that once he wasn't infectious, we could finally start to plan for getting back to Boise. But wait, there's more. Because someone didn't get the memo, and they weren't done playing games yet. In part 6, I'll introduce you to the palliative care attending physician, a guy I affectionately call Grady McShady.